What was Vanya saying about the tornado?
The windows are shaking.
June 12th. Downtown Moscow is flooded. Moscow City was hit by a tornado and a hurricane.
Those are copper sheets. Oh, wow.
Guys, what kind of storms are these? The storms here are just unreal. In my whole life, as long as I've lived, I've never seen so many storms. I filmed it too.
It happened right here.
The elements are tearing skyscrapers apart. Muscovites are drowning. One person sadly got sucked into a storm drain. Even the rescuers couldn't save him. The airports are flooded. The Moscow metro has been flooded. A tornado and lightning struck Ostankino. And cars are sinking into the asphalt. The roads in the capital of Mordor are in total collapse. Boo! Badaboo. Moscow is going underwater. In Moscow, because of heavy rain, a hurricane, and tornado winds, the airports have been flooded. The streets are flooded. The metro is flooded. Muscovites are simply drowning. We continue.
Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let's get started. Write in the comments how happy you are.
Some people are off to the sea, and here we are. And over there, people are literally swimming. Damn, what a nightmare. The rain has passed. Leningrad Highway.
A yellow danger level has been declared in Moscow. There's an emergency situation there. All the roads are flooded and the evacuation of Muscovites has begun.
It's all hell, it's hell.
A yellow weather hazard level has been declared in Moscow due to thunderstorms and hail. Flooding at Vnukovo airport due to heavy rain, and because of the flooding at Vnukovo, dozens of flights have been diverted to the backup airport, Domodedovo. According to Mesh, dozens of planes from Turkey, as well as one each from St. Petersburg and Tyumen, simply cannot take off in any way. The strong wind has flooded not only the terminal but also the apron, so they can't refuel the aircraft right now. Departing flights are being delayed and planes are circling above the airport. Poor things. Here's the flood at Vnukovo airport. In the footage, Terminal A near gates 15 and 16 flights to Yerevan, Peskov, St. Petersburg, Nalkik and others are already delayed. The capital of Mordor continues to be hit by heavy rain, a hurricane and a tornado. Boom. Bada boom. 18,000 Muscovites were left without power.
What was Vanya saying about the tornado?
The windows are shaking slightly.
Trees uprooted, cranes toppled, roofs torn off.
Agency staff say
A severe hurricane, hail, and flooding hit Moscow and the Moscow region.
Live report from the scene. Leningradsky Prospect. Tatarata. Yaponsky City Cup. This is a total disaster.
Residents of the Moscow region are also reporting hail. In Novyezuevo, hail the size of a quail egg fell. Because of the downpour, there was flooding at the Komsomolskaya station. The car sank into the washed-away asphalt. Hurricanes and squalls are tearing off roofs, destroying houses, and flooding skyscrapers. Panic and evacuation have begun in Moscow. The rain and the hail have damaged hundreds of cars and infrastructure facilities. The elements have caused a traffic collapse. Buses, trams, and trolleybuses have stopped running in Moscow. And a tree fell onto the tracks of one of the Moscow metro lines.
A mega downpour with hail and possibly tornadoes has hit Moscow today, the capital of Russia.
The Ministry of Emergency Situations did not warn Muscovites about how dangerous this could be. It's possible that Moscow could end up underwater. This looks more like the hurricane and tornado of the century. Strong winds are tearing down billboards, the roofs of Moscow buildings, and toppling trees. Trees have destroyed skyscrapers and cars. There are people injured due to falling trees. Muscovites are in a panic. The hurricane is ripping off roofs and shattering windows. Muscovites are screaming as their tents are blown away.
Listen, honestly, this is probably, without a doubt, the very best story I've ever heard.
And it's wiping Muscovites off the face of the earth.
Unbelievable, truly unbelievable. I can hardly believe it. What on earth is happening here? This is racist.
A yellow danger level has been declared in Moscow. Muscovites are flooded. This is insane. A super downpour has started. They're literally being swept off the face of the earth. The wind is tearing tents apart. Muscovites are screaming. In the Moscow region settlement of Pirogovsky, according to locals, in some places the storm drains can't cope, and in others they simply don't exist. The settlement is in collapse, just like Moscow itself. Muscovites are literally swimming, my friends, to get to work and home and to work. And then suddenly they end up drowning there. Like this car, for example. The promised tornadoes were recorded in Lobnya near Moscow. The Moscow region was hit by a squally wind with rain, and there's a thunderstorm warning there. An orange level of danger has been declared in Moscow. Boom, bada boom. Keep flooding, sure, until Moscow sinks for good.
These are copper sheets. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Holy moly.
That's some serious money.
Huge amount.
In some areas, hail has been observed.
Downpour, the roadway on the inner side of the 15th MKD near exit number 14 was simply flooded. Emergency services are working at the scene. Traffic is congested, according to the city transport department.
What were you saying about tornadoes earlier?
The delicate glass is shaking. You can see it trembling.
A whirlwind of events. Leningradsky Prospect. Tatarata. Japanese policeman. This is a disaster. See, they don't clear out the dead wood, and now people are being blamed for everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars.
Muscovites were warned that a hurricane was coming. No one could believe it because the weather was nice and the sun was shining. And then at 3 o'clock, a real Armageddon began. Downpour, thunderstorm. The wind speed reached 17 meters per second. The amount of precipitation that fell in just 1 hour almost exceeded half the monthly norm.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
As a result of the passage of the thunderstorm front, power outages are currently being observed in a number of settlements. No reports have been received regarding damage to the integrity of roofs, buildings and structures or disruptions to road traffic. These weather conditions are expected to persist across the Central and Volga federal districts for the next 2 days.
It looks like a huge crater from an explosion. Well, that's how big the tree was that fell. Here's another one.
Broken trees fell right onto the children's playground.
In general, the Moscow region and other areas were hit by a second wave of bad weather today. In some places, there was even hail. Here's a heavy downpour in Frunzenskaya. Embankment people are literally being swept away. In some districts of Moscow, a torrential rain began. Residents of the capital also posted videos of the hail. Stones from the sky are destroying Russians. According to the Yandex weather precipitation map, a squally hurricane-like downpour is moving through the southwest and south of the capital, the city center, as well as the northeast. Venya is over there. The flood caught a drainage worker during his routine job cleaning the Chertanovka river drains. However, the water started rising so quickly that it swept Gennady into the sewer. It would be nice if all Muscovites ended up in the sewer. All right, let's get out to the view, you know. Bad weather and the elements. Nature is taking revenge on Russia, Moscow, and the Moscow region for all the horrors that Russia is inflicting on our country, Ukraine. This is divine punishment. This is retribution from above. Essentially, nature is avenging Moscow, Muscovites, and Russians for all the evil they are committing. Fascists. What can I say? And on the Yenisei, in the Krasnoyarsk region, a riverboat is sinking with holes in its fuel tank. It has already spilled 30 tons of fuel oil. The riverboat, towing 2 barges, struck a river rapid. The Yenisei is one of the largest rivers in the world. There is no threat to local residents, but there is a danger to the local flora and fauna. You see, these Russians, they destroy everything around them, literally everything, because they simply don't care about it. They have more important things to do than to care for what belongs to others, destroying what belongs to others. Ballistic and cruise missiles, using them to attack the neighboring country, Ukraine, killing innocent children, killing women, killing our soldiers, destroying our land. That's what Russia is concerned with. Destruction and extermination.
The installation of a barrier. That's how it is. And now they're sinking.
A state of emergency has been declared in the area where 30 tons of diesel fuel spilled into the Yenisei River. According to Yuri Ozersky, head of the Kazachinsky district of Krasnoyarsk Krai, the day before, a river vessel sustained a breach and ran aground at the Kazachinsky rapids. As a result, according to preliminary data, about 30 tons of diesel fuel entered the Yenisei here. A state of emergency has been declared in the territory of the Kazachinsky district of Krasnoyarsk Krai. According to Ozersky, all services and supervisory authorities are working at the scene. Despite the measures being taken, the oil slick has already reached the shores of Iskunovka and Momotovo. The head of the district noted that there is no threat to residents, but there is a danger only to the local flora and fauna. Friends, please like this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dasha Shaslivaya. Write in the comments what you think about this and also let me know where you're watching. Did today's news make you happy? And now, let's take a look at another fresh breakdown of the terrible pro-Putin Russian propaganda.
And here, this problem with air defense really comes into play. And today you raised the question at Zelensky's. They have a real...
But I also don't like that things are reaching deep into our territory. I'm waiting for us to finally make systemic decisions because I'll ask a simple question. Who is responsible for air defense inside the country? And we won't find an answer to that. Who should be responsible for making sure industrial facilities are protected? How is that possible? How do we bring the legislation into order? Because fine, if one of our air defense systems falls on a residential building, who will be held responsible for that? Our law describes this, it allows for it.
We need to go back to the Soviet Air Code.
We need to go back.
The Ministry of Defense was responsible.
We just need to take a look. We have the National Guard, which can brilliantly handle this task. If we give the guys everything they need right now...
Indeed, our population, our citizens, are demanding much tougher actions from us. It was very hard for us to go to the second round of negotiations when Ukraine deliberately on the day of our departure blew up a passenger train and civilians and children were killed. You see, sometimes when a missile is launched at a military target, electronic warfare is activated, the missile is deliberately diverted and it explodes, hitting a neighboring house. This is part of war. It's a tragedy. Sometimes when a missile is shot down, the debris falls on residential buildings and people die. That happens too. But it's terrible. But it's part of war. But when a passenger train is passing by, if I'm not mistaken, a double-decker one, you can see it from far away, a huge passenger train, and the person who blows up the railway and the highway does it manually, seeing this train, presses the button there. The button was pressed manually. And this is terrorism. This is not a train carrying tanks. It's not even a train with fuel. It's obvious that this is a passenger train. And he deliberately kills civilians on peaceful territory. Of course, after that,
And that's what makes Russians angry.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, after that, citizens demand to hit Kyiv, to hit Lviv with missiles. Enough negotiations. And it's very difficult for us in this regard.
A robot planted in Kyiv is much better than a living, frail migrant. It doesn't rape anyone, it doesn't kill anyone. No problem with it at all. Let's keep robots. I've seen a lot of Yandex pizza delivery robots, but they don't attack anyone. The little box is cute. Nothing ever happens with it. I read science fiction novels too. I know they can get out of control. I agree. But it's just a machine. Whatever the programmers make it do, that's what it'll do. Let's not get carried away. This way, first of all, we'll have advanced high-tech manufacturing. Our science and technology will develop. And in this way, we won't have to lose our identity, because then we won't be drawing up these demographic reports saying there's nowhere to turn, no one to deliver pizza, and no one to drive taxis. There are already driverless taxis, and these secondary services exist as well. And there are construction technologies too, especially if we're not building 20-story buildings, but rather these single-story houses using 3D printers. That's why a robot whose mind is guided by good Russian common sense.
Nothing. In other words, for the first time, the government has decided, at least I hope sincerely, decided to offer us a product that, all other things being equal, if it's convenient, we ourselves will switch to. But probably the government should help out Telegram a little, either by making its connection worse or maybe even banning it altogether. Although, I hope it won't come to that.
Friends, thank you for being with us. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We work for an audience all over the world so that people know the truth about Russian aggression, about Russia's war against Ukraine. That's why every like, every comment from you is priceless. Stay with us, stay on the bright side. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. We will definitely win.